So welcome back, Elaine, to the Zoom room for another Art of Letting Go live session. So yeah, let's jump straight into our teaching for today. Quotes, and there's some teaching, and then they'll lead us nicely into our lesson. So give me a moment to get the live stream going and share my screen. All right. If you can read that quote from Neil Donald Walsh. Can you read? Is that big enough? Elaine, I think you muted.
Oh, yeah, I can see that.
Mm.
It is not God's function to create or uncreate the circumstances of your life. God created you in the image and likeness of God. You have created the rest.
Then you've got these two images of someone in some kind of ecstatic spiritual state. I thought that was a great picture, just the light streaming down, and there's kind of there's a lifeline going up, isn't there? It looks like a rope or something.
Looks
going up.
Peaceful.
I think it was in a cave or something.
Right.
Someone in a cave.
Where's the lady?
There's a kind of rope. There's a rope coming down, and then there's the lady looking at her computer, holding her head in her hands and going, "Oh my God, what's going on?" It's like, life, well, which reality do you want to live in?
That was me this afternoon.
Yeah. Which reality do you want to live in? Question. So it's by a guy called Neil Donald Walsh, who wrote the Conversations with God.
Oh, yes.
Series of books that you may have read, some of them, which really states the same non-dual truth as Yeshua reiterates over and over in A Course in Miracles. We are innocent, pure, and wholly loved by our Creator or Source. Only this experience is real, and everything else is our own miscreation. And that's essentially the Course's teaching, isn't it? So therefore, asking God to fix the faulty circumstances of our lives is like asking a plumber to fix a faulty electrical plug point. Right? The plumber can't fix the problem because it's not his domain of expertise. You can't ask God to fix problems that don't exist. What you can do is just let them go. That's the answer. Don't say, "Well, God, please do this and fix this problem." Just let it go, realizing it's not real. So God, being pure formless awareness of perfect love, or as some philosophers refer to it, the ground of being, cannot even conceive of your life as a separate human being, let alone all the specific problems you experience in this apparently separated state. So asking him or it to fix what doesn't even exist in its mind is never going to work. That's why prayer in the traditional sense, which is asking God for help with some specific problem in your life, seldom works. Oh, please, God, I've got this problem, help me with this particular problem. Please, God, sort this out. Please, God, give me money. Please, God, let my, relationship be better. Please, God, let me meet the woman or man of my dreams. And on it goes, isn't it? On and on. And so that's a very it's a faulty way of perceiving God, because God has no interest in any of that. God is pure formless awareness of perfect love. That somebody says, join with me, become like me. I'm not interested in your illusions at all. There's no super being outside of you to pray to, but there is the pure formless awareness of perfect love or beingness that is still a potential state of which your mind can become aware and enter at any moment. So it's to make that potential actual. And herein lies the key to true prayer and the miraculous results, the ultimate salvation, or an alternative Ottolenghi language awakening from the entire dream of form that it brings. In every circumstance, you can choose to experience a state of pure formless awareness, or in Course in Miracles terminology, heaven, in which none of the limiting, fearful, unpleasant, and sometimes absolutely awful thoughts and emotions that are inevitable consequences of the belief in separation, Yeshua calls the ego, exist at all. You can enter that state. So pure formless awareness of perfect love, or in ACIM terminology, God, cancels out everything else that we've made up to replace it, and restores our mind to an awareness of itself as it was originally created, or in Ottolenghi terminology, extended, and as it remains in truth. And if the negative thoughts and emotions that created the problematic circumstance in your life were not there, it makes perfect sense that these circumstances, which are just the effects of these false causes, must also change. So this is the way to change the external, you change the internal. And this is why Yesh advises us to, will you read that quote?
Be the change. Oh, do you mean this bit underneath? Seek not to change the world, but choose to change your mind about the world. Yeah, that's very, very true.
One of the most powerful lines in the Course. Seek not to change the world, but choose to change your mind about the world. Because when you change your mind about the world, you do change the world. You change your perception of the world, which changes the world, because the world is perceptual.
Yeah.
And from that perceptual change comes all other change. You might also change your words, your actions, your decisions, and so on. And so then the world changes accordingly. But seek internally first, change your mind about the world. So he's referring us to the interior quadrant of the integral model. He's saying go within and find this subjective self, this individual interior subjective I is what you need to change. This is where your mind needs to change, because all change comes from there. Whatever you perceive in the objective world comes from this subjective sense of self, whether it's on the individual exterior basis, or it's collective. It all comes from your mind. So that's where the fundamental change has to happen. The ego always seeks to create a change on the external. It says, well, if you change, your individual reality, your body, your behavior, and things you can control, then that's going to make the change. Or, change, other things must change. This is less realistic, but many people go, well, the government needs to change, or the whole system needs to change. Something needs to change that's actually way beyond my control, in order for me to be happy. Those are very deeply unhappy people, because there's no control there. And so you end up blaming the government, or blaming society for your woes. And of course, your locus of control is completely external. And that's what the ego wants. It's removed your mind from the responsibility to manage its own thoughts and emotions. Okay, so let's go back. Go back to this. So the process of forgiving, or also going to go terms, letting go of mental errors to effect a change of mind and the circumstances our mind has created, is true prayer, which, as Yeshua explains in this profound passage from the text, is the same as forgiveness. When also going to go terminology, letting go. So if you read that, you can read that quote finally.
Yep. Prayer is a way of asking for something. It is the medium of miracles. But the only meaningful prayer is for forgiveness, because those who have been forgiven have everything. Once forgiveness has been accepted, prayer in the usual sense becomes utterly meaningless. The prayer for forgiveness is nothing more than a request that you may be able to recognize what you already have.
So many well-meaning Christians may advise you to pray for God's help when you're experiencing problems in your life. Say, prayer solves everything. So if this ever happens to you, all you need to do is reinterpret what prayer means. See, the advices are called by the Holy Spirit, or in Artificial terminology, the remembrance of perfect love, to forgive or let go by bringing your mind into a state of pure formless awareness, or in Course in Miracles terms, heaven, in response to whatever problems you have miscreated and misperceived. It's really just a call to let go. So true prayer, as he says, is forgiveness. It's letting go. And that cancels out the problems you experience in your mind, ultimately in your life circumstances. Because these problems are the effects of the false beliefs of the ego. So remember, it's just the master belief in separation. And then your prayers will have been miraculously answered. If you can truly let go, like in your case, you can truly let go of that within you that's causing the situation with your friend, then you allow the external circumstances to change. And they will change, because the driver of those circumstances, which is your own mind, is no longer in the same state. You've changed it. So that's why he points us within. He says, seek not to change the world, the outside circumstance, but choose to change your mind about the world. Because it's your mind that is primary in generating your experience in this world. So in truth, there's really nothing miraculous about the process. Its effectiveness simply stems from the laws of mind as they really operate in truth. But don't take my word for it, because these ideas, as profound as they may be, will remain just an abstract theory until you practice forgiving or letting go of your false thoughts and emotions, when you become aware of them arising in response to any situation. As Yeshua tells us over and over, Course in Miracles, there are only two guides and thought systems that you must choose between in every situation, which you're called on to make a decision. The ego, which is your sense of being a separate human self, living in a body, in a world that is external to your mind. And the other option is your true self, or in Course in Miracles terminology, Christ, which is the identity, true identity that will enable you to experience the state of pure formless awareness, or heaven, while your mind is still seemingly living in a body. You're listening to the guidance of this true self that knows it is perfect, whole, complete, and loved, is what it means to recognize and become one with your source. Being aware of your true self letting its pure formless awareness of perfect love reinterpret all your experiences in this world gives you what's called an internal locus of control. So it's all about what's going on internally. It's my thoughts, my emotions, my mind, my decision, and that's up to me. So it's taking responsibility. It also makes you field independent. So these are fancy psychological terms for someone who's let go of being concerned about the external world, what other people think about them. So you become very much rooted in this interior individual I, the great I am presence, and you're really not bothered too much about what goes on the exterior level in the world of form, because you realize that this is primary reality and this is illusion. So you have an internal locus of control in that you are managing your own thoughts and emotions. Your thoughts, emotions, memories, states of mind, perceptions, and immediate sensations. You are managing those. You're aware of those. You control your mental and emotional state. It's not just at the beck and call of everything on the external. Whereas the victim mindset says, you're just a victim of the world, so you're going to respond to whatever the world gives you, and that's an external locus of control. And then inevitably, with that thought system, you will seek outside you. You're not going to go within. So it's go within or go without and lose yourself. Lose yourself in the world, outside yourself, or go within and find yourself. Those are the choices. So it's about being willing to let go of being concerned about the external.
Very appropriate, this, for me, today.
Yeah, I thought so, very much so. But that's how it goes, isn't it?
It is.
In theory is simple, but its application, as you've learned, is can be challenging. Because our egos resist letting go of these mental blocks for dear life, because these blocks are their life. Our individual egos prefer to be enslaved by the matrix the ego is made up to imprison us than to be free, peaceful, and happy as the true self or Christ, that pure formless awareness of perfect love or God created, or in letting go terms, extended, and continues to create or extend us to be. Right? So it's actually extended and continuously extends us, moment by moment, because we have awareness, we have life. So we are continually extended by the source of life itself, which gives us our awareness. So this is why he's given us daily mind training lessons to help us practice forgiving or letting go of the blocks to the pure formless awareness of perfect love that arise in our minds daily, and experience the peace, happiness, and freedom that are the inevitable consequences of this higher awareness, which is also known in some spiritual traditions as just divine love. And that's what these emails are about, helping you to connect the dots, starting to see how this all works, how it fits together, what the Holy Spirit's thought system is. Yeshua's teaching you through your Course in Miracles. But if you need a bit of help, connecting with them, then that's what these live calls are about, live sessions. I think you experienced that. So I encourage anyone listening who's not with us to join us, because you can get real-time help with practical issues like you did in the expression session, which is not live streamed. It's recorded to the
very helpful,
just to the Telegram, because it's interesting for people, but it's not for public consumption. Okay, so that brings us to the session, which we're well immersed in, and the next part of it is our lesson. So let's dive into that, shall we? So let me just get the recording going. So we'll jump into today's lesson, which is lesson 260. So there's lesson 260. If you can read the original version, key idea, and then the alternative, and then read the first paragraph, which is prayer. Thanks, Elaine.
Yep. Let me remember God created me. Pure formless awareness of perfect love extends me. Father, I did not make myself, although in my insanity I thought I did. Yet as you thought, I have not left my source, remaining part of who created me. Your Son, my Father, calls on you today. Let me remember you created me. Let me remember my identity. And let my sinlessness arise again before Christ's vision, through which I would look upon my brothers and myself today. My source,
Alternatively.
Yep, and my source, I did not make myself, although I thought I did in my insanity. Yet as your thought, I have not left my source, remaining part of who extends me. Your extension, my source, calls on you today. Let me remember that you extend me. Let me remember my identity, and let my innocence arise again before my true self's vision, through which I perceive my companions and myself today.
And what's he saying in this one?
Well, we thought in our insanity that we'd left our source. No, I did not make myself. Sorry, I'm getting a bit confused at my source. I did not make what I did in my sanity. Yeah, we've made this ego insanity, but we haven't really left our source. It's there and it extends us all the time. And it can call on you at any time, today, tomorrow. And just to remember that he's the one that extends us, and he is our identity, and our innocence will arise from all of that. And we also need to see our companions in the same vein, despite their behavior. I had to get that one in.
Yeah, in spite of their behavior, because they're not in their right mind.
Yeah.
They're in the ego. They're certainly not in their right mind, and they're showing you the shadow of your own ego, which you need to release. And you can only do that through letting go. So it's once you understand it from the Holy Spirit's point of view, it's quite simple, but it's still not easy to do, because we have this entrenched ego system in our mind that reacts. Someone treats you badly and you feel not great. You feel bad, you feel angry, resentful, upset initially, and it requires a correction and a different thought system to come in and remind you that, well, this is just my projection. I made this all up. So this is bringing me what I feel I deserve. This is my own attempt to punish myself, really, because that's all the ego is trying to do, using other people as the mechanism. And then, of course, it seems to be justified. My anger and my feeling unfairly treated seems to be justified, but it's not justified if I've done it to myself, is it? If it's really a projection and I've made this up and I brought this on myself, then how can I be unfairly treated? when I did it to myself. So realizing the truth that it's, just a projection is the end of the victim, isn't it? I can't be a victim anymore because I did it to myself. Which is why the ego will fight you tooth and nail on this issue. It's going to tell you you're a victim because its entire thought system relies on it. If you realize you're not a victim and it's all your own projection, then it's bye-bye ego, no more victim. You have full responsibility for whatever's seemingly happening in your life. If you recall the Ho'oponopono teaching, you're probably familiar with it. We covered it in the course.
Oh, yeah,
it's the taking of 100% responsibility.
Yeah.
It's like, well, yeah, that's correct spiritually, because you are responsible for everything that happens in your life because you made up the idea of separation. You believed in it. So that's the responsibility, and that's irrespective of what seems to be happening on the level of form, which is all seemingly happening outside of your control, and it's generated by the subconscious a lot of it. You're still responsible because you originally took the decision to leave and let go of denied pure formless awareness of perfect love and go away into this domain of separation. So whatever happens, if you decided to separate, it's only your decision, then whatever happens from that decision, you must have decided as well. We didn't know when we decided separation was a good idea what would happen because we never experienced it before. But now we do. And now we can see very clearly what happens in the thought system separation. And millions of years to learn that. So if we can just take the full responsibility and say, okay, whatever seems to happen in the whole system that I've kicked off with my idea and then belief in separation, then that's my responsibility, all of it. Although on this level, as just a person living a so-called helpless innovator little life, you seem not to be responsible. Well, I didn't do that. It's someone else. These things are beyond my control, apparently. But if it's all a projection and you're perceiving your own projection, then it's not actually outside of your control. You have full control over it and you can let it all go. That's the only level of control you really have left. The ego's control is illusory. But you can make the choice to completely let it go, drop all of the ego beliefs and just become pure formless awareness of perfect love. Okay. So any other thoughts on number the first paragraph of the prayer?
That's good, thank you. It's good.
Prayer, you're asking to be reminded of who you really are, asking for your innocence to reveal itself again. Focus on this paragraph is on innocence, because he knows that when you start claiming your innocence, you're opening your mind to spirit. Okay, so you can read number 2 in the original. Just do it. There's only 3 lines, but do it sentence by sentence, and then the alternative. Thanks.
Now is our source remembered. Therein we find our true identity at last. Now I remember my source, and in this memory I find my true identity at last. Holy indeed are we, because our source can know no sin. I am wholly aware indeed, because my source knows no sin. And we who are his sons are like each other and alike to him. And we who are its extensions are the same as our source, and each other.
Yeah, so what's he saying in that one?
Well, this is where we find our true identity in the memory of the source at long last.
Yeah.
And the source knows no sin, so we have to accept, well, be glad.
I'm glad that our innocence is still there and we can just claim it.
Yeah, and that's all of us.
It's available for us.
All of us, yeah.
And then it ends on the familiar note of unity, saying we are the extensions, we're the same as our source and the same as each other. Okay, so any other thoughts on number 2?
Yeah, that's good. It's a nice little prayer.
Yeah, I mean, I quite enjoy these lessons in the second part of the workbook because they're short and sweet, and it's just a pointer. It's like, okay, you can digest it in a couple of minutes. It's not metaphysically that challenging. Well, he's just telling us the same thing he's told us, over and over. But it's not complicated. He's just saying, here's the simple truth. Contemplate it and use the lesson to go into your higher awareness. And love this. Speaking of which, shall we do a meditation on this?
Yeah.
John's to
Let
really
it
go
sink
into it and use the situation that we discussed in the expression.
Yeah.
In the meditation to help you just to let it go some more.
Yeah. Thank you.
Sure. Okay. So let's do a meditation on this section, which is in this lesson, which is 260. So it's the final one of the series of 10 lessons. And again, the theme of sin is quite strong. So I just start the meditation, just make yourself comfortable. Sitting with your feet shoulder width apart. Your back straight, sitting upright, cup your hands in the lap. Have your palms facing upwards, thighs. And start off with a nice deep breath in through the nose. Blowing the stomach out like a balloon. Raising the energy up the spine, clenching the sphincter muscle to do that. Full maximum inhale breath. Deep breath in. Just always hold the breath. So scan your mind and notice any thoughts, any emotions, any related body sensations going on. So remind yourself that God created me, or alternative language, pure formless awareness of perfect love, and extends me. Extends me as I am right now, in every present moment. So I can never be outside of this extension, this love. And you just blow it all out. Exhale, imagine that the darkness is leaving you. Blow it all out like a dark cloud or black smoke. It's going, gone to nothingness that it really is. So, breathing in. I want you to repeat these words, do them as affirmations out loud, ideally. So this is a prayer to your source, your own true self. Breathing in, small inhale breath. Always hold the breath as you listen to me, and then as you exhale, you're going to speak the words that I've spoken. So my source, I did not make myself, although in my insanity, I thought I did. And exhale and repeat those words. So I'm breathing in again. Yet, as your thought, I have not left my source, remaining part of who extends me. Breathing in again. On my now breath, clench the sphincter muscle, lock the energy in, draw the energy up the spine. And imagine you breathing in the source into every pore and every cell, your body, every part of your mind, every fiber of your being. Your extension, my source, calls on you today. Breathing in again. Small inhale breath. So let me remember that you extend me. And exhale and feel that extension happening right now in real time. And this true awareness is just extending through you. And let me remember my identity. And let my innocence arise again before my true self's vision. Exhale on the truth of that. And let my innocence arise again before my true self's vision, through which I perceive my companions and myself today. So repeat those words. And breathing in again. Maximal inhale breath. Imagine you breathing in the source light you can visualize as light that helps you, golden or white light flowing into your body, every part of your body, every part of your mind. So now I remember my source. Now I remember my source, and in this memory, I find my true identity at last. So I exhale the truth of that. I'm wholly aware indeed. Because my source knows no sin. And then again, maximum inhale breath. And we who are its extensions are the same as our source and each other. Exhale the truth of that as you speak those words. So we are one. That's what it's saying. We are identical with our source and identical with everyone else. And so you sink into that source. Feel it, experience it, feel it in your heart. And so feel that unity, connection to your source, your own deepest awareness, your own pure forms, awareness of perfect love, as we term it, and to all of your companions who are one and the same awareness. So awareness is the truth. And there's nowhere else to go, nothing else to do, nothing else to think about. Breathe, relax, be still, and surrender into the truth you're experiencing right now, that there is only this awareness. And just observing the breath flowing in and out through your nostrils as you do this, just to give you an anchor meditation, just and if any thoughts arise to seemingly disturb this deep peace, just observe them, breathe into them, imagine they're like dark clouds just blowing away the breeze of your breath. And just release them. Exhale. Just let them go. Imagine they're just drifting by. Just blowing away the clouds are no longer you. You rest in the light, your true awareness. Just sink into this awareness, and deeper, breathing in and out through your nose. And surrender to this higher awareness for a couple of minutes of deep, peaceful silence. Okay, so just gently coming back. So the body and the breath, senses in the world. And on the count of 3, you're going to open your eyes. So 1, just breathing in, noticing how the stomach rises and the chest rises. And the subtle flow of air in through the nostrils. Just observing your state of mind, thoughts, emotions. Related body sensations. Exactly anything that feels negative, limiting, contracted, constricting in any way. Breathe it in. Breathe in the source. And just say this prayer again. So, my source, I do not make myself. Although in my insanity I thought I did. Yet as your thought, I have not left my source. Remaining part of what extends me. In your extension, my source calls on you today. Let me remember to extend me. Let me remember my identity. Let my innocence arise again from true self's vision, through which I perceive my companions and myself today. And then you exhale, just release and let go of any blocks to the awareness of love's presence, thoughts of fear and guilt, attack thoughts, even minor irritations, which says it's all the same, whether it's a minor irritation or a tense rage, it's the same thing. Let my innocence arise again for my true self's vision, in which I perceive my companions and myself today. So just anchor this state in, set intention to stay here for the rest of the evening, the rest of the session, on into the rest of the week. So it's said, so it's done. And now count to 3, just open your eyes. So just take a minute to look around the room, observing various objects in the room in this very calm, detached way. So no judgment, no attachment, just a very peaceful perception. Notice that that underlies every object you look at. Look at a number of objects just for a second or two at a time. You notice nothing's really changed. It's the same underlying peaceful perception. Notice that that piece is there whether you open your eyes or close your eyes. So look at an object and open your eyes and close your eyes briefly, and notice that your inner state hasn't changed one iota. It's the same. So you're teaching your mind that there is one state, one awareness that is always there, permanent, it's eternal. That's your true identity. But this lesson points us to that's your true self. That's where you and your source meet, in that awareness. And it's that awareness that brings us everything we truly want. So I hope it's done that for you over the last 25 minutes or so. It brings us to the end of the meditation and first part of tonight's session. Now move on to the text, if you like, Elaine.
Yeah, I can.
So let's have a look at our text reading. Where is it? Let's just find.
How many paragraphs? I can do about an hour, but I'm getting a bit dry throat, and so an hour would be enough for me. Hopefully not too many.
The text is 7 paragraphs.
Right.
So maybe able to get through that in an hour. They're particularly long ones either. Let's have a look.
Right.
So this one is called The Self-Accused. Interesting, given what you shared.
Yeah.
So let's see what Yeshua has to say about the self-accused.
Be interesting.
Well, read in the original, and the alternative just give me a chance to translate to make any amendments as we go.
Yeah. Only the self-accused condemn, and the same, only the self-accused condemn. As you prepare to make a choice that will result in a different outcomes, there is first one thing that must be overlearned. As I prepare to make a choice that will result in different outcomes, there is first one thing I must overlearn. It must become a habit of response so typical of everything you do that it becomes your first response to all temptation and to every situation that occurs. It must become a habit of response so typical of everything I do that it becomes my first response to all temptation and to every situation that occurs. Learn this, and I learn it well. For it is here delay of happiness is shortened by a span of time you cannot realize. I must learn this and learn it well. For it is here that my delay of happiness is shortened by a span of time I cannot realize. You never hate your brother for his sins, but only for your own. I never hate my companion for his sins, only for my own. Whatever form his sins appear to take, it but obscures the fact that you believe them to be yours, and therefore meriting a just attack. Whatever form the sins appear to take, this only obscures the fact that I believe them to be mine, and therefore they deserve a just attack.
Yeah, so let's read it in the alternative from the top. Mind.
Yeah. Only the self-accused condemn. As I prepare to make a choice that will result in different outcomes, there is first one thing I must overlearn. It must become a habit of response so typical of everything I do that it becomes my first response to all temptation and to every situation that occurs. I must learn this and learn it well, for it is here that my delay of happiness is shortened by a span of time I cannot fully realize yet. I never hate my companion for his sins, but only for my own. Whatever form his sins appear to take, this only obscures the fact that I believe them to be mine, and therefore they deserve a just attack. Therefore
They deserve, sorry.
Yeah, they deserve a just attack. That's better. Yeah. Yeah.
So what's he saying in this one?
Well, it's this again, it's coming from us. So when we're condemning, it's just self-accusation. So we
Yeah,
have to
only
get
the self-accused condemn. It's a great line.
Yeah.
If you're condemning anyone, it's really your own condemnation that you're just projecting.
Yeah.
Because we can't handle it. How do you handle condemning yourself?
Yeah.
How does the mind handle it?
It just doesn't know.
It can only project
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
Says, okay, well, I can't handle that, so I'll project it onto someone else, and then I feel a bit better because now I'm accusing and condemning someone else, apparently, not myself. They the guilty ones. They deserve the punishment.
Yeah. So we
But
have
it's just a bait and switch. You just switched it. You haven't really resolved the problem, which is the thought system of sin and guilt and fear and accusation, condemnation. You haven't solved that at all. You've just projected it onto someone else. Said, "What is your problem?" But that's false. You can't do that because it's still your problem. If you project it, it's still in your own mind, being projected from your own mind. So it's still very much in your own mind. You must still then believe in the thought system of sin, guilt, and condemnation. So it doesn't really solve anything.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so what else is he saying in this one?
It's saying that it has to become a habit of any typical response to everything that we do, in in all temptations, in every situation that occurs. And they can't emphasize it how much we need to learn this. Otherwise, we're just delaying our happiness. We don't, we never hate our companions for his sins, but only for our own. Oh, well, there you go. That's just as we've been talking. So whatever form these sins appear to take, they only obscure the fact that they are mine. And so that's why they deserve a just attack.
And the key thing we've got to learn is I never hate my companion for his sins, but only for my own.
So there you go.
Hard realization, because we like to project and go, it's not me, it's them. But
it's me.
Truth is, it's your own stuff. It's your own. You hate yourself.
Yeah.
Again, it's very hard realization to go, yeah, okay, the ego is self-loathing, hates itself.
Yeah.
It wants to attack and accuse and condemn itself, and yet it wants to live. Well, that makes no sense. How can you want to live and die?
It doesn't.
Which is completely contradictory, as Yeshua points out. It says, well, is this really life? A living death? This, insane reality where you attack and accuse and condemn yourself and others and suffer and die? Is this really reality? Is this the reality you would choose over pure formless awareness of perfect love? Think again. Recognizing that you're just doing it to yourself. And that is probably the hardest part of accepting the truth for people. So, okay, I did it all to myself. I'm still doing it all to myself.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, I can't believe that, because most of these situations I get into, it's been pretty much a lifetime sort of habit. Yeah, so there is.
Now you have to go, well, I did it all to myself.
Yeah.
Which isn't easy to deal with. It's like, well, why was I so stupid? Why did I do that? Why have I done that my whole life? Why have I hurt myself over and over and over again?
Yeah.
But once you realize it, you can correct it. Say, okay, well, I can stop doing that now. Thank goodness, because I actually realize what it is I'm doing. So I've been hitting my head against a brick wall and I've been blaming the wall, but it's me who's been doing it all along.
Yeah. So these people
the wall looks very real.
So the people that are these actors that are coming into the play of my life are all coming from me. So Sally and whoever else, all being directed by me.
And they reflect quite amazingly perfectly your underlying belief system. That's what the people in your life, reflect for you.
Interesting.
And that works all the time, uncannily so. It always works.
Yeah.
That's how the dream is constructed.
Yeah, and it's
whatever's going on in your life, it's reflective of your belief system,
which can go on for a lifetime. Yeah,
many lifetimes. If you don't change your beliefs, just carry on. You still believe that? Okay, well, you get more of the same.
Yeah,
which is why this is a path of pointing us within and saying, well, you've really got to look at your beliefs and be very honest about them, because that's the only way you're ever going to get out of this mess you've enslaved yourself into. Look at your own beliefs, recognize the falsity of most of them, and drop them. Let them go. And what's helpful is you get to see your beliefs in the mirror that the world presents. That's really the key insight of this course.
Yeah. You pretty much attract the same actors throughout your life.
The same patterns. I mean,
exactly.
You look at your patterns and you go, I've kind of done the same thing over and over. We've all got our different patterns. Not everyone's the same, but these patterns that repeat, and you go, why is that the case? Why do these patterns keep repeating for me?
Yeah.
Because it must be me. It must be a belief in my own mind that's causing this. That's honest. That's being perfectly honest. I can't blame anyone else. The one central theme, one central character in all of my experiences is who?
Me,
yeah. This me that I believe in so much. That's the central character in my dream. I'm the hero of my dream, as Yeshua puts it. So that's the common factor. So maybe the problem is with that character, who is not really me, but it's what I believe is me. long as I believe it's me, then that becomes my self-concept.
Yeah.
And it seemingly has power over me because I believe it. And so it's the belief that gives these false ideas of the ego their power. And therefore it's the beliefs that we must look at very, very honestly and let go. So this belief doesn't serve me anymore. And then in that's radical forgiveness. See, so you're using the external world to undo the beliefs of the ego that make up your false self-concept, which has invented the entire world. And you're using the world as a mirror in which to see those beliefs so that you can then correct them. You can let them go. And the reason why we come back here from a spiritual point of view is because this is how we can learn what those beliefs are. If you didn't have the mirror of the world that shows them to you, how would you discover them? How would you know that those are beliefs? It's difficult. They're in your mind, but often buried in your subconscious. You're not even aware of them. So the world is there to reveal the beliefs, show them to you very clearly, so that you can become aware of them and then let them go. And that's what that's what it's for. It's the only purpose of the world is to help you to free your mind. And it does that job perfectly.
It does.
It's always going to mirror to you your own beliefs.
Yeah. Yep, that's good.
All right, so we go to number 2 then. So again, read it in the original and the alternative.
Yeah. Why should his sins be sins? If you did not believe they could not be forgiven in you. Why should his sins be sins? If I did not believe believe they could not be let go in me.
Could not, let's say, I did not believe that I could not let go of them. Remember, we need to just change that around. If I did not believe that I could not let go, I did not believe that I could not let go of my sins. Why should their sins? I mean, instead of should, would, why would their sins be sins? So if I could let go of my own sins, what he's saying is then, how could I perceive that their sins were really sins? Because I can let go of mine by recognizing the unreality. So then I must see that that's the case for others. As it is for me, so it is for others. Okay, so number 2.
Number 2, yeah. Right. Why are they real in him if you did not believe that they are your reality? Why are they real in them if I did not believe that they are in reality?
Okay, we'll switch that around.
Are they, yeah.
I did not believe that they are my reality.
Right.
Why are they real
in them?
Maybe in others would be better. So you understand what he's saying there? not believe that they are my reality. So I must believe that they're my reality for them to be real in others. If they're not my reality, then how can they be real in others? As they're real for me, they must be real for others. And as I perceive them as unreal for me, so they must also be unreal for others, because it's the same order of reality we're talking
Yeah.
about. Can't mix and match. You go, well, sin is not real for me, but it's real for them. It's like it's either real or it's unreal, period. It applies, to all of us or to none of us. And that's the simple logic of the Course. Okay, so number 3.
Yeah. And I can't quite see there. And why do you attack them everywhere except you hate yourself? Why do I attack them everywhere except I hate myself?
It's not the accept there, but maybe. Why do I attack them everywhere but hate myself? That makes more sense than accept.
Yeah.
Why do I attack them everywhere but hate myself?
Yeah.
Okay. Am I a sin? Are you a sin?
Are you a sin? Am I a sin? Your answer, yes, whenever you attack. For by attack do you assert that you are guilty and must give as you deserve. And I answer yes whenever I attack or by attack. I do not assert that I am guilty and must give as I deserve.
Yeah, so whenever I attack, I assert, yeah, I'm guilty. And therefore I must give as I deserve. I deserve punishment because I'm guilty, and so I must give punishment. And so the people who condemn and criticize and judge and sometimes, physically attack and abuse, they are the ones who feel guilty. And they can't handle it, so they project their guilt onto someone else and attack them.
Yeah.
If I do not believe that it deserved attack, carry on.
Yeah. You did not believe that you deserve attack. It never would occur to you to give attack to anyone at all. If I did not believe that I deserved attack, it never would occur to me to give attack to anyone at all. Why should you? Why should I? What would be the gain to you? What could be the outcome be that I would want? And how could murder bring you benefit? And how could murder bring me benefit?
What could the outcome be that I could want? Maybe that could be a better could. And could there be an outcome? Could there be an outcome that I would want? And how could murder bring me benefit? How could murder benefit me? Okay, so just read that from the top in the alternative, please.
If I did not believe that I could not let go of my sins, why would their sins be sins? If I did not believe that they are my reality, why are they real in others? And why do I attack them everywhere but hate myself?
Come on. Come on.
Just,
Come on.
sorry, I just got a bit of a distraction there.
Yeah.
Yeah, just go on. Sorry, I'm just trying to.
Does that mean no?
Right. Oh, sorry. I've just got an interruption there. Yeah, right. I'll just let them go. There we go. Sorry about that. Right. So where was I? Why do I attack them everywhere but hate myself? Am I a sin? I answer yes whenever I attack. For by attack, I do assert that I am guilty and must give as I deserve. And what can I deserve? Only what I am. If I did not believe that I deserved attack, it never would occur to me to attack anyone. Why should I? What would be the gain to me? Could there be an outcome that I would want? And how could murder benefit me?
Okay.
Well,
So what's he saying here?
well, all to do with attack, and if you attack someone, then it's coming from you. So if you don't believe in this, then it won't occur. We just wouldn't attack anyone. I mean, what could we gain from it? What outcome would we want from it? I don't know. Murder seems a strong word. How could murder benefit me? Murder, it's a bit strong, isn't it? Strong word to use.
No, but he's using that intentionally.
Hmm.
He doesn't choose his words without reasons. So he's saying any attack. What do you really want to do when you attack someone? You want to kill someone. Let's just cut to the chase there. You know, you're attacking them. You're saying you deserve death, and I will, I will mete out that death. So in most human situations, it doesn't come to that. We don't actually kill the person, but there's an intent to murder.
Oh yes, can be. Yeah.
We've got a, we know we've got a legal system and a rule in our minds that we go, well, that's not right. I can't kill someone, so I won't, but I might have the intent.
Yeah.
And I mean, people sometimes say, I mean, common phrase, I could kill you or I could murder you. They do. That's a.
Oh yes, yeah.
I could just murder that person. I mean, well, yeah.
I wish they were dead.
That's stating the case, isn't it?
Yeah,
you could.
Yeah.
In that incorrect frame of mind, you see them as your enemy, and you go, well, then just dispose of them. That would be the answer. Just get rid of it. That'll alleviate my irritation, my suffering, my pain. Just eliminate them, and then I'll be free. This is what the ego tells you, anyway. Of course, you're not at all, because if you do attack someone or even murder them, then you'll feel the guilt. And then the guilt really gets going. And of course, practically speaking, in this world, if you get caught, well, you'll spend your life in prison. You can't do that. So,
yeah,
not a very good strategy at all. But that's what the ego suggests, and it's shocking. I mean, when I saw it, I've experienced it viscerally. I was in a having an argument with my wife, and she was just pushing my buttons. I got just so angry. I was busy chopping vegetables. I had a knife in my hands, and the impulse came to me to go just stab her right now.
Yeah. Yeah.
I didn't, fortunately, otherwise I wouldn't be here. I'd been in prison.
No,
but
no. But
you
we
can
all
see
get
how it
those
can happen.
murderous intents. Yes, of course.
I was a murderer,
Oh, yeah.
and I was absolutely shocked to the core. I went, oh my God, I could have in that moment actually done it because I was so angry.
Enraged. Yeah.
And of course, I just happened to have a knife right there. So like, just, do it. Just get rid of this, this irritation, this vexatious, person.
Yeah.
And I was shocked. I reflected on that. I was like, oh my God, this is the ego. It's revealing itself. So then
Yeah,
when he says, murder, then it's like, well, yes, that's what he means, because
yeah. Special relationships, though, I
within the
guess
ego
most,
system, there's a murderous
yeah.
intent.
Oh, yeah. No, I mean, obviously, same with my husband. If he's had, too many drinks and he's been particularly nasty, then yes, of course, there's murderous intent. But I haven't done it. Well, he's still here. Yeah, but yeah, that's quite
No,
normal.
and fortunately, most people have enough restraint not to, but you can see how it can
Yes.
happen.
Oh, yeah,
Why
domestic
do
murders
people
are,
do? And there's lots of these, so-called crimes of passion where people just can't
yeah.
handle it anymore, and they just, murder their spouse or partner or
Oh,
kids
yeah.
or whatever. They just lose it. And
Lose it, yeah,
like, I
no.
understand in that moment, I
Course.
understood how it could happen,
Oh, yes.
which,
Yeah, no,
does give you an understanding and some compassion. Say like, okay, well, they just lost it. They didn't have enough
just a
self-control
moment, yeah, just
in
a
that
moment.
moment to go, okay,
Flash. Yeah.
just ignore that impulse. Don't go there. Just let it pass,
Crazy
which
flash,
I did.
yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Thank God. Like it was okay. It was momentary, but I felt it, and it was momentary, and then it was like, whoa. And then
Like a flash,
I was
yeah.
shocked for days. I was like, oh my God, I've just really seen this is what he needs. When he
Special
talks about murder and murderous intent and attack, and this is what he means, and it's shown itself to me. And yes, there is a part of me that's a murderer.
Which is in all
So
of us,
I
really.
need to let that
Or
go.
most of it. Yeah.
Yeah, everyone who's got an ego as a murderer in them.
Yeah.
And they're killing others. They want to kill others, and they want to kill themselves. That's the murderer. Which is why death happens in this world. We kill ourselves. So it's shocking when you see this, but that's how you wake up.
Those flashes,
oh
yes. I do.
Oh my God, that's awful. So I need to do a whole lot more, mind training to get rid of this. This has got to go. The murderer's got to be released, and it's a process. These thoughts, I don't get them very often anymore, but
I think it happens
and then
more
you go,
when you're younger.
okay, there it is again.
Yeah, it often happens more when you're younger. You're more volatile.
Yeah,
Yes.
to be honest, I never had. When I was younger, I never thought of killing someone. It only happened then, and I was in my 40s. But it was always there. I mean, I did get angry, and at 40, okay, maybe somewhat. You're middle aged.
Well, but still, yeah, you're still.
But it took what it took was extreme, provocation. It took that situation I was in, and just a lot of conflict with my wife, and to bring it up. So I was pushed to the limit, and then okay, out pops the murderer then. In that moment. And it's shocking. You go, oh my God, I just see the insanity of a part of my mind. and it has murderous
yeah,
intent.
the craziness
And
of our egos.
it, you know, you can
Yeah.
see how people go horribly wrong, because in one moment like that,
Yes.
you
Yeah.
act on an impulse like that, then your life is changed forever.
I've seen it time
And you
and time
might regret
again.
it for the rest of your life, but in this world, the deed's been done, and you know the law takes its course, and you then go to prison for a long, long time. And you know, it's like, well, thank God I didn't, but I can see how it could have happened. You know,
Yeah.
I wasn't far away. It was on the. I was like, you know, just had enough control to stop it, because I was like just in a rage. It was like, you know,
Intense
just
rage. Yeah.
you know, just no, you know what that feels
Yeah,
like.
I know
Just
that. Yeah.
rage away and somehow just get that feeling out, and you know, you express it in a violent action, and then temporarily feel relieved, but very temporarily, because then it'd be like, oh my God, now what have I done? You know, I've actually done it. There's no undoing it. Person's now dead, and I now have a dead body and blood all over the place, and now what?
Yeah. And then
You know,
that's
now I'm in deep.
the one flash.
Well, it's like, well, how you can't then, you know, yeah, from one insane moment. And so, you know, a lot of the prison population probably like that. They just didn't have enough control in the moment to stop it. Some of them are more, you know, systematic criminals. But sometimes it's just, I remember listening to one guy
to the moment
in one of the movies, and he was saying, yeah, you know, I did the worst thing possible that anyone can do. I killed my wife and my son. And you could see he was just broken. He was like,
yeah,
he's just like, he had tears in his eyes. He was like, you know,
no, I've
been
seen
dealing with that ever since.
But yeah, there's a couple in
I've
Los
been dealing
Abrigas.
with that.
Yeah, there's a gentleman in Los Abrigas, just a couple of kilometers from us. His wife had decided she wanted to be with another man, so he just smothered her with the pillow, and they had 2 children as well. And he realized what he'd done in that one flash, and he ended up having to take his life. He was so upset about what he'd done. Yeah. That one crazy
and he couldn't
moment.
forgive himself, and then he also had to face the consequences of, well, I've now done this, and I've got to face the consequences. I've got to go to prison probably for the rest of my life.
Yeah.
Okay. So, you know, this stuff is not
easy.
It's not just theoretical. This can actually profoundly, you know, change people's lives. You know, you get this or you don't get it. It's pretty life changing.
Yeah.
So if you can bring this awareness and these skills, I mean, if I hadn't had the mind training I'd had, I might well have done it. I may well have done it, because I just wouldn't have had any resistance to it. There wouldn't have been a part of me that went, okay, you know, you've done enough training, stop, you know, pause. I had enough, like, pause.
We've all got it in us.
I'd done enough meditation and stuff to create a pause, so that I didn't just act on my impulse, because I'd done a lot of, you know, spiritual practice to practice that. So that saved me in that moment.
Yeah.
But, you know, someone else who didn't have that, who's more reactive, well, they could just react and do it, and then okay, and then once it's done, it's done. You can't, you know, on this level anyway, undo it. There's just, you can undo it mentally and spiritually, and that's, you know, then their major life lesson, isn't it? Okay, well, you gotta let it go and forgive yourself. But there's easier ways to, you know, to awaken than that. That's a hard path. So I still struggle to forgive myself for the impulse, even though I didn't do it.
No.
Oh my God!
It's in everybody, though. We've seen it in ourselves.
No, if we're honest, I mean, let's be honest about it. It is in everyone.
Especially,
and we all have it.
When I was younger, I certainly would be sort of shouting, "I wish you were dead," you know, to a special relationship. So there you go. So even as
Yeah,
people
we
pleasers,
just, not everyone acts on it, but
even the people
otherwise
pleasers
we'd
and
all be in
doormats.
prison. You know, everyone's probably had a murderous impulse at some point, and they just haven't acted on it. And then those that do, you know, we call criminals, and we look down on them. We go, you know, you're some kind
Yeah.
of, you know, lower form of life
No,
or whatever. But
yes,
actually, they just made a mistake, which
yeah,
everyone could
yeah.
have made.
One
But
flash, it's a flash thought.
they did it,
Yeah.
and whereas other people have thought about it,
Just an
other
impulse.
people have thought about it, and they didn't do it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
Special relationships. Yeah.
you know, it's pause for thought. Yeah, especially,
Yeah.
I mean, nothing triggers you more. It's just like, oh my goodness.
Mm.
And especially if you're living in close quarters with the person and they just working, you know what I mean? It just works, and they just
Oh,
work you,
yes. Yeah.
and they work you, and it needles and
Whatever
it
the case,
needles, and
yeah.
eventually, you snap. It's like, can't deal with
You
it.
do. Yeah.
And so you can see how it happens in,
Oh,
you know,
yeah.
homes
Easy.
across the world. It's like, I just can't handle it anymore, and I snap.
Mm.
And then I lose it, and I do something, you know, that I'm going to regret.
Yeah. Yeah. It's easy to see how it's done.
So this,
yeah.
you know, this teaching, it's like he says murder for a reason, because you know, we have a murderer in us. It's a murderous intent, and any attempt to attack anyone is just murder. You want to kill them. Be honest. You might just be minorly irritated with it, think, but underneath that is this murderous intent. And so by calling it for what it is, he's saying to us, look at it. You need to, you don't tolerate this anymore. Any attempt to attack, even a minor irritation, bit of condemnation, is murder. Okay, that's a bit shocking, I know.
Yes.
But he has to shock us in order to awaken us, to go, okay, that's not acceptable. I can't deal with a murderer in me. So this
So
ego,
my mild
that's the
irritation,
gut.
I don't, yeah, I was going to say that, yeah, but Sally's not really a special relation. I certainly don't want to murder her, but of course she's not a special, she's a special friend in a fashion, but not in close proximity. So
if there's any irritation, if there's any
been a mild one, yes,
any anger, then it's murder. This is what Yeshua's saying to us. It's just
dear.
That's why he says, you know, mild irritation or intense rage is exactly the same thing. It's just degrees of this insane thought system, but it's the same thought system. So recognize it for the same. Mild irritation equals intense rage equals murder. And then you go, okay, well, I've got to let go of that mild irritation then, because underneath it is the iceberg of the ego's thought system that is a murderer.
Right. Yeah, can lead to that. Yeah.
So therefore, I'm not going to tolerate. You see, it's like a zero tolerance policy. I'm not going to tolerate a mild irritation. That's got to go. That's what he's trying to train us to accept.
Yeah.
Okay, because it's too easy to go, oh, well, I'm just a bit irritated, but that's normal, you know. It's just part of the human condition. We all get irritated. It's okay. And then we tolerate it. Okay, well, I can, you know, get irritated with someone else, and it's kind of just this low-grade irritation, but no, it's all right. And, you know, no, really look at it. It's not all right because it's murder. So you need to really address it, get to the root of it, which is your own self-concept that believes in sin and guilt, and let that go in order to be free of it. And then you stop making exceptions. You start applying this course much more rigorously, because you realize this is literally going to save your life. You know, you and other people's lives as well. It's an absolute lifesaver. You know, you preventing you from doing things that are going to harm you and others is potentially a lifesaver. And I realized that, you know, in my difficulty that I had when I moved to the UK, and we just had a son, and I was with Deborah, and it was really just not a good situation at all. But it did make me realize that, okay, this course is what's going to get me through. I have to really go deeper with this. I have to learn this. I have to apply it. I have to be more rigorous with it, not make exceptions, because something's got to get me through this crap. Excuse my French, but that's what it was, and that's what I was thinking. Something's got to get me through this, and fortunately, I have the teaching. I don't need to look anywhere else. It's all there.
Yeah.
I just need to start really applying it to my life instead of just teaching it and going, well, I'm kind of a course teacher, and that's quite a nice kind of identity, and I'm going to teach it once a week, and it's all kind of, it's nice, but it's not really getting to the nub of the matter. It's not really cracking open my ego and helping me to awaken.
Yeah.
And we all go through that phase. It became like, no, you really need to learn this course, to deal with this, this murderer in you, this insane, rage and anger and all the stuff that's arising. That is just it's just almost overwhelming. Like, how do I deal with it?
Yeah.
And well, I had a way, fortunately. So I was like, okay, well, you just got to really, really apply this. And I did. I was like, okay, I got to do this. And part of that was doing the Art of Letting Go course and going, okay, well, this will help me learn this thought systems at a deeper level. Because I have to, if I'm teaching it all the time, several hours a day and writing it, like, I've got to really learn this myself and master it. So it came out of that crucible of like really difficult experience, which in hindsight I'm very grateful for. I'm grateful I didn't actually hurt him. Just had the thought to do that, but
that's just the ego's
fortunately
nonsense. Yeah.
Another time I remember I had this crazy thought to just go and murder Deborah and Gabriel in their sleep. And I was like, what do you, and then I was like, well, then what would I do? Then I'd go running down the trailway. We were at a place where there was a trailway. I'd go running down the trailway. The police would be after me. I'm like, stop. Like, a minute into that, stop. This is, you know what I mean? There was the Holy Spirit going, just stop it right there. Just,
it's a bit of a monster. Yeah, no. I had a few strange dreams as well.
Road, it's like, you just caught up in a nightmare. I was like, okay, like, just don't do it. Stop, just. And unfortunately, I got out of it in a minute or two, but I had the thought. And I can understand then why people do it, because that thought could become an obsession.
Crazy monster,
You think that enough, then eventually you do it. Then people do murder their families because they like this thought has taken possession of them, and there's nothing else. They
haven't got enough conscience
to go, stop. That's just madness. That's not real. That's not who you are. Just put a stop to it right now, which I did. And I was like, but again, it was shocking. I was like, wow, this thing is insane. There's this insane monster in my mind. It's with this murderous intent and, could do it, wants to do it.
Yes.
But it gave
me
a much deeper insight into the ego and how it works and why we do have the world we have. Why do people do this kind of stuff? All the time. It's happening. All the people are murdering other people all the time. That's why they do it. Because they've got this insane, vicious monster. And if they don't have enough connection to the Holy Spirit and enough awareness, then that takes them over, consumes their mind, and causes them to do these things. And, they are possessed in the moment by this murderous intent, which isn't really them, but it seems to be.
It's this craziness.
They've allowed it.
Yeah, then it can, whatever. Yeah, we all have some craziness in us, of course. Who's that man that's just passed away? He was on Friends. Matthew Perry. Is it Matthew Perry? Yeah, he was unfortunately plagued with all this addiction. He's just passed away. very popular guy with the program Friends.
Yeah, I remember him. Yeah.
54. Yeah, he's a very nice man, but he had all this craziness in him. Real, and he said he was great at helping other people, but not himself. But he just had this madness in him, and he couldn't get to grips with it. Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
it's mental illness, really. It's sad, but this this course, corrects it. If you really study it, you can get out of that, and you can find a way out of the insanity, and find a way to live a happy dream while you're here. You're in the domain of the ego, it's insanity, but you can be reasonably happy while you're here and awaken to who you are and never come back. That's the best you can do.
Yeah.
In an
I mean, at the
world.
moment, I'm still going through. Once you're awakened, then you are able to watch the news and see it for what it is. But at the moment, I'm still going through a phase where I have to switch it off because it still affects me. So I'm still going through this stage. I have to close off from these, horror things like news and what's going on. I still don't like to watch it. Where some people, once they've awakened, they obviously don't struggle with it anymore.
It's an advanced level. When you at the level where you can watch the news and just go, well,
it isn't real.
She really just walks off a duck back because none of it's real.
Yeah, I've still got to switch it off. So yeah.
Well, I just don't bother because it's like, well, who has time to watch a load of illusions?
Yeah.
So
true.
just what's the point? It's just it's not doing anything constructive for your mind, for your life. Just wasting your time. Rather spend time discussing the truth or trying to build a business and do something positive about it.
Yeah.
A much more constructive use of time.
Yeah. Yeah, no,
so
it's still
you tend to find as people awaken, they watch less and less TV. That's
I don't watch any of it. I can't. It's not that I'm awakened. It's just it just we put that news on in a state of the war. This is Israel. It's awful. So I have to switch it off. It affects me. So I'm still in the ego mind. Yeah, because as you say, you would just say, "Oh, this is an illusion. Let it go." I'm still affected.
It's quite advanced, to be at that level.
Yeah.
Quite advanced. I noticed Gary Renard, he's the Disciplines for the Universe, various other books.
Yeah.
So his wife sort of made a comment. She said, well, Gary gets kind of quite wound up with the news. He watches the news and he's making all kinds of comments.
Right.
And then he's like, oh no, but I'm just watching it, from a detached point of view. And I was like, really?
Maybe, right. He's getting
maybe not, maybe it still winds you up and still pushes your buttons. Because otherwise, why would you need to comment? Why would you need to say anything? It's not real. Why even bother? But obviously it still maybe affects him on some level. So
it makes
it's kind of advanced. It's advanced mind training, really. You just go,
absolutely.
Okay, I'll watch the news, and I won't get sucked in. I won't let any.
Because I still get affected by it. It's very sad at the moment.
So
for me, anyway.
So most. It's often helpful, when you're starting the process to go, okay, I'll just cut myself off from that stuff. I won't.
For the moment,
expose myself to it.
Yeah, that's unfortunately I'm not able to.
Well, it's a phase. It's a phase of learning, and so that's fine. You can just withdraw your mind from that, focus on more positive things.
That's what I need to do. Yeah.
And that's part of your mind training at this stage. At some point, you might say, well, just for a laugh, I'll watch the news, and really, it's not affecting me at all.
Yeah, well, that would be good when that happens.
So you,
but at the moment,
you kind of do it as a test. I've done that a couple of times. Not generally not willingly, because I'm like, it's just a waste of time. But if I have to, like if I'm with my parents or, like I'm exposed to it and I'm in the room and it would be rude to leave, or I'm eating a meal, or something, then like, okay, I'll just recognize that it's all just, this is all insanity. What you're seeing is a projection of insanity. Now, shown to you by the screen, which is an illusion. The images on the screen are illusion, and what they represent is illusion. It's just images within images within images in this dream world. None of it's true. None of it's real. None of it really exists. So, how can I take this seriously? And that's then your forgiveness practice as, the news is going. You go, okay, we'll just do that mind training as it's happening, as the images of whatever insanity, the ego's cooked up now are being projected onto the screen. And you go, no, but nothing on the screen is real. It's all just the screen of mind. The domain of the matrix, Maya, the illusion, none of it's true. Underneath this is just pure formless awareness of perfect love, which is in my mind still. And I can stay in that state even while these images are being, shown to me. So, it's a kind of advanced, you might like to test yourself every now and then. Say, okay, so let me see. It's a good gauge of progress. I'll watch 10 minutes of the news and I'll see how I do. Well, still pushes my buttons, maybe not as much as it used to. Okay, maybe there's some progress. Go back, do another couple of months spiritual practice. Watch the news again. See, so it's a good barometer, isn't it? Oh, you kind of test yourself. Apparently, the Buddha used to ask sort of scantily clad women to dance in front of him.
Yeah.
And he did that not because he wanted to get off on it. He wanted to stay detached.
Yeah.
He was like, I don't want to react. I want to train my mind to just, not have any desire.
Neutral.
At all. Neutral. As these images are being projected, on the screen. No reaction. Total non-reactivity. No desire, which he understood was the source of all suffering. So you desire one of those images, as attractive as it might be to your ego. We kind of wired up the opposite sex bodies. You get wired up to that. As attractive as it may seem to be, it's just another part of the illusion. It just makes the illusion real. It gets your ego enslaved into the dream world, seeking something that it thinks it wants, and makes it all real. It makes your self-concept real, and so that causes endless suffering. Even though it's so fundamental, some of these things like sexual desire, anger, attack thoughts, these seem quite fundamental to human experience, aren't they? They just seem to happen all the time. But the masters tell us they're not real. These are all illusions of the mind that you can and must transcend to awaken. But beyond this is this, pure formless awareness of perfect love that transcends all this, in which you are blissfully happy for eternity. And that is vastly preferable to all of, this insanity that you've invented. All right, so good discussion on murder. But when he says murder, he means it. He's saying that he's using that term for a reason. That's why I don't translate it. It's like he's using it as an extreme instance of attack so that we can recognize that this is what attack is. It's murder and nothing more. Nothing less. Okay, so number 3, sins are in bodies.
Sins are in bodies. Am I reading both or? Yeah.
It just gives me a chance to amend the alternative. Yeah.
And all sins are in bodies, the same. They are not perceived in minds. They are not perceived in minds. They are not seen as purposes, but actions They are not seen as purposes, but actions. Bodies act. Bodies act and minds do not. Bodies act and minds do not. And therefore, must the body be at fault for what it does. And therefore, the body must be at fault for what it does. It is not seen to be a passive thing, obeying your commands and doing nothing of itself at all. I do not perceive to be a passive thing, obeying my commands and doing nothing of itself at all.
When people say, my body wants this, we've all heard that. Oh, my body craves this. My body needs this. My body wants it.
Yes.
It's giving false autonomy to the body, because it's not the body that wants anything. It's your mind.
Yeah.
It's your mind believing in the reality of the body and experiencing sensations in and through the body. But it's the mind that gives the body its intent. So if anyone says that, I always correct them. Say, no, it's not the body, it's your mind. Your body doesn't want it, your mind wants it. Your mind might be getting a signal seemingly from the body to want it, but that's part of the illusion. You've got yourself into this so deeply into the dream that you're a body, that now you get these apparent signals and perceptions coming from the body and the body senses that apparently are reality, that tell the mind what it wants to hear. This is the teaching that this is saying. You just perceive whatever the mind wants you to perceive, because it's all your projection. So remember, projection, perception. I project and then I perceive, and we do that so well that we've forgotten we're doing it. So that as that projection perception mechanism becomes our invented reality, which seems to be so real that it's replaced true reality. Okay, so where are we? Number 7.
If you are sin, you are a body, but the mind acts not. If I am sin, I am a body, but the mind acts not.
Change that to the mind.
And
mind does not act.
And purpose must be in the body, not the mind. And purpose must be in the body, not the mind. The body must act on its own and motivate itself. The body must act on its own and motivate itself. If you are sin, you lock your mind within the body and you give its purpose to its prison house, which acts instead of it. If I am sin, I lock the mind within the body and I give its purpose. Just have to move it up a bit. And give its purpose to its prison house, which acts instead of it. Okay. A jailer does not follow orders.
Okay.
Only enforces orders on the prisoner.
Oh, right. So just read that from the top in the alternative.
Yeah. Sins are in bodies. They are not perceived in minds. They are not perceived as purpose, but actions. Bodies act and minds do not. And therefore the body must be at fault for what it does. I do not perceive it to be a passive thing, obeying my commands and doing nothing of itself at all. If I am sin, I am a body, for the mind does not act. And the purpose then be in my body, not my mind. My body must act on its own and motivate itself. If I am sin, I lock the mind within the body and give its purpose to its prison house, which acts instead of it. The jailer does not follow orders, but enforces orders on the prisoner.
Okay, so you have a question about that last one?
Yeah, just not quite understanding what that means, jailer.
They just talked about imprisoning the mind
Oh, right,
within
it's
the
an
body
analogy.
and give its
Yeah.
purpose to its prison house, the mind's purpose to its prison house, which acts instead of it. So the mind is like the prisoner of the body, and the body is like the prison house.
Yeah.
To its prison. Then acts instead of it. So we've given a false power to the body, and so then a jailer, in the same kind of analogy, jailer does not follow orders but enforces orders on the prisoner. So jailer doesn't follow orders. What does he mean by that?
The jailer.
What's the jailer?
The body.
What's the jailer in this instance?
The body. Oh no. No, the mind.
Well, the jailer is actually the ego mind, isn't it? The jailer.
Yeah.
The prison, in his analogy, the prison is the body. So the jailer enslaves the mind, jailer being the ego, enslaves the mind in the body. The jailer does not follow orders, but enforces orders on the prisoner. Well, he says does not follow orders, but enforces orders on the prisoner. So the jailer is our ego mind that enforces the ego's wishes, its orders on the prisoner, which is our mind that's caught up in the body. So the ego mind uses the body to convince us that we are not minds, but that we are bodies. Because the best way of keeping us away from awakening is to convince us that we don't even have a mind. If I'm a body, how can I change my mind? Because my body does this, and my body wants that, and my body desires this. So I've got no control of that. My body wants it. It's not me, it's my body. So there's no responsibility then of the mind to say, well, actually, it's my choice. You know, I have a choice, I have a decision. I can take responsibility for this. So the ego mind is just enforcing, our own ego is enforcing the orders of the egoic thought system, which is the universal mind or consciousness or Satan in this diagram. You can see that. You know, this is the top level ego, the ego, consciousness, belief in separation, Satan, called universal mind. It's been called many things. We now get our egos are plugged into that thought system, and they draw their thoughts and emotions from that, and so now we get instructed. That's like the head of the prison that then says to our ego, well, you know, perceive the body this way. use the body for attack, use the body to get sick, use the body for guilt and sin, to perpetuate that. And so we, the jailer being our ego mind, it forces the orders of this super ego, could call it, the egoic thought system, on our mind, acting in and through the body. So because we seem to have a body, then things like attack and sickness and death seem to have meaning, don't they? Without a body, those would be meaningless ideas, because you can't attack a mind. It has no physical seeming reality. Then how do you attack a mind? It's a body that gives form to our murderous intent, to the attack thoughts, the murder, the sickness, the punishment, the fear, the death. It enacts it all for us. Okay, so does that make sense, what he's saying here in the last line?
Yeah, yes. Mm-hmm.
Or I could say my ego, my separate self, being the jailer, does not follow orders, but enforces orders from the belief in separation on my mind, which is its prisoner. Is that clearer?
Yeah, that's better.
I think that's, you can interpret it differently, I suppose, but I think that's what he's trying to say. I'm not far off.
That's better.
Just read that number 11 there.
My separate self, being the jailer, does not follow orders, but enforces orders from the belief in separation on my mind, which is its prisoner. Yeah, that's better.
Okay. So any other thoughts on number 3?
No, that's good.
Don't believe you're a body. So if you find yourself saying, oh, my body's tired, or my body wants this, or my body craves that, correct yourself. Say no. Or my brain, my brain is, people use the body parts as well. My brain is this. My brain is fried, or my brain is overloaded. No, it's not your brain, it's your mind. It just feels like it's in your head.
Yeah.
So it's really just energy that's in that part of the body that you experience. But the whole construct's illusory. There is no body. It's just a dream. Your mind has got itself enslaved into. Okay, so number 4.
Yet, it line by line, is it, or just the alternative, or you want it for the translation? Yeah.
It just gives me time to edit it.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you race ahead and I can't keep up.
Yeah. Yet is the body prisoner and not the mind. Yet the body is the prisoner and not the mind. The body thinks no thoughts. The body thinks no thoughts. It has no power to learn, to pardon, nor enslave. It has no power to learn, to let go, nor enslave. It gives no orders that the mind needs serve, nor set conditions that it must obey. It gives no orders that the mind needs serve, nor sets conditions that it must obey. It holds in prison but the willing mind that the world abide in it. It holds in prison only the willing mind that wants to live in it. It sickens at the bidding of the mind that would become its prisoner. It sickens at the bidding of the mind that wants to become the prisoner. And it grows old and dies because the mind, number 8, learning is all that causes change. What was numbers? Oh, there you go. And
that mind is sick within itself.
Yeah, and it grows old and dies because the mind is sick within itself. Learning is all that causes change. Learning is all that causes change. And so the body, where no learning can occur, could never change unless the mind preferred the body change in its appearance to suit the purpose given by the mind. And so the body, where no learning can occur, can never change unless the mind preferred the body change in its appearance to suit the purpose given by the mind. For mind can learn, and there is all change made. For mind can learn, and there is all change made.
Mind can learn, and there and therefore all change is made. In mind. All change is made first in mind. So he's saying, if we look at interval model, saying all change is here in the interior individual I, subjective self. This is where change happens. As Yeshua says, seek not to change the world, but seek to change your mind about the world. In this quadrant, upper left, this is where all change happens, and then that change just gets mirrored or reflected in the external, objective, exterior, and interobjective world as a reflection of that change of mind. But the primary change is always within, which is why Yeshua says, seek not to change the world, the external world, but seek to change your mind about it, because that's how you change the external. It changes with a change of mind. Okay, so read this from the top.
Yet my body is the prisoner and not the mind. My body thinks no thoughts. It has no power to learn, to let go, nor enslave. It gives no orders that my mind needs to serve, nor sets conditions that it must obey. It holds in prison only the willing mind that wants to live in it. It sickens at the bidding of the mind and wants to become its prisoner. And it grows old and dies because the mind is sick within itself. Learning is all that causes change. And so my body, there is no learning can occur, can never change unless my mind prefers the body change in its appearances to suit the purpose given by my mind. For my mind can learn, and therefore all change is made first in mind.
Therefore, make all change. And make all change. And take out the first, and therefore I make all change in my mind. Which again, your scientific materialists will dispute, because they believe in reality of the external world, and say, well, change is happening in the body, and you can change your behavior, but all of those changes are just reflective of the mind. Given that everything in this world is just a projection of mind, fundamentally it's the mind that determines everything. Say it in another way, one of the quantum physicists in the early 30s, 1930, I think, a guy called James Jeans said, the universe begins to look more like a great thought than a great machine. Quite a statement. The universe begins in the quantum physical interpretation of it to look more like a great thought than a great machine. Whereas previously the Newtonian paradigm was, well, it's this kind of mechanistic world. There's all these fixed laws that Newton tried to describe, Newton's laws of physics. And, that this happens independent of the mind. It's all objective. It's outside of mind. And quantum mechanics turns that on its head and says, no, actually, it's all in your mind. It's a projection, in other words, of your mind. There is no reality in the absence of observation. That's the Copenhagen interpretation of quantum mechanics. There's no reality in the absence of observation, so it must all be in your mind. The entire universe is in your mind, and you've made it up to give you the experience of being human, separate in a body. There's no other reason for the existence of the universe than that. Except that, we must now suffer, age, and die in this invented dream world that we've created, because that's what the mind demands. But it is reversible. And it says learning is all that causes change. If you really learn the truth, then you can let it go. Okay?
Yeah. I'll
Any
have
other
to drop
thoughts on
off.
that?
Yeah. No,
Number
that's
4?
good. I've got a few massages tomorrow, so I'm going to have to drop off shortly because I've got to get a bit of rest. Otherwise, yeah. So,
Okay. Let's see, we got
how many? Yeah, because
pretty short. 6 and 7 are short. So let's see how we go. Do number 5. See how we go.
can I do it in the alternatives so that I can?
Yeah, okay. I'll try and keep up with you. I'll just pause you if I need time to.
The mind thinks
Was it?
it's the mind that thinks it is a sin has only one purpose: that the body be the source of sin. To keep it in the prison house, I choose and guards and holds myself at bay, a sleeping prisoner to the snarling dogs of hate and evil, sickness and attack, of pain and age, of grief and suffering. Here are the thoughts of sacrifice preserved, for here guilt rules and orders that the world be like itself, a place where nothing can find mercy, nor survive the ravishes of fear except in murder and in death. For here I am made sin, and sin cannot abide in the joyous and the free, for they are enemies, which sin must kill. In death is sin preserved, and those who think that they are sin must die for what they are.
Right. So sin is preserved in death. So what's he saying in this one?
Well, the mind that thinks it's sin is only one purpose. That's a very sorry state of affairs when they're in this state. It's all about suffering,
Those who
evil.
think that they are sin must die for what they think they are. So look again at our diagram. If you think that you really have destroyed love, so you're guilty of this terrible crime of destroying God, love, oneness, pure form, awareness. So your entire identity in the ego is based on sin. You are sin. Yeah, it's your very core identity. I'm sinful just to exist. I only exist because I've destroyed love. Yeah, you see, that's the problem with the ego. Saying you only exist because of sin. So you are sin, in other words. Then the consequence of that is that you must deserve punishment for your sin. You must deserve attack and hatred and ultimately death. And you will enact those things. You live those things out. Sin is preserved in death, and those who think that they are sin must die for what they think they are. So death is the ultimate punishment for the apparent sin of destroying God, because in our minds we've destroyed, this God love, oneness. So we must in turn be destroyed as our punishment. And what we believe we've done will be done to us. And we invent a concept of a fearful, wrathful, vengeful God to do it, which has nothing to do with the true God of pure formless awareness, of perfect love, but is just an invented ego construct that then apparently holds this idea of sin and guilt and seems to want to punish us or our imagined sins. But there is no sin. This is the message. Freedom comes when we accept that there is no sin. And so the entire construct of the ego is simply not real. And none of its consequences are real either. Okay, so anything else in that? This is one of those stick paragraphs, I call them. Quite graphic, language and stuff he uses to just, again, awaken us, sleeping prisoner to the snarling dogs of hate and evil. Brings a kind of an image of a pack of vicious dogs or something, about to attack you and rip you apart. And then he highlights all the illusions that go with this. Here, guilt rules and orders the world. Right. Be like itself, a place where nothing can find mercy, survive the ravages of fear, accepting murder and death. All right. So I think Elaine's gone. So let's finish this. Let us be glad that you will see what you believe. and that it has been given you to change what you believe. So let me be glad that I will perceive what I believe, that it has been for me to change what I believe, and I can change what I believe. The body will but follow. The body will only follow. It can never lead me. Where I would not be. Never lead me where I do not want to be. Does not guard my sleep or interfere with my awakening. It release my body from imprisonment. No one is prisoner to what I have escaped. I will not want to hold in guilt. My chosen enemy is not in chains. I don't want chosen enemies in guilt. I will keep in chains. As I think are friends. I keep the ones I think are friends. Slave to the illusion of changing love, special love. So let me be glad that I'll perceive what I believe. I can change what I believe. My body will only follow. My belief can never lead me where I do not want to be. It does not guard my sleep nor interfere with my awakening. It does not defend my sleep nor interfere with my awakening. I release my body from imprisonment, and I will perceive no one as prisoner to what I have escaped. I will not want to hold my chosen enemies in guilt, nor keep the ones I think are friends enslaved to the illusion of changing love. Saying here that when we release our body from imprisonment of our ego minds, and we will perceive no one in that same prison. I will not want to hold my chosen enemies in guilt. I'll keep the ones I think are friends enslaved to the illusion of change and love. I will have healed my mind from those delusions and be free. Extend that freedom to others. So the innocent release and gratitude for their release. The innocent release others, say, and gratitude for their release. And what they see holds their freedom from imprisonment and death. What they perceive upholds their freedom from imprisonment and death. Open my mind to change. Open your mind to change. I open my mind to change. And then there is no ancient penalty exacted on my companion or myself. Demanded on my companion or myself. My companions or myself. For God, pure formless awareness of perfect love, has said there is no sacrifice that can be asked claim that there is no sacrifice can be asked and no sacrifice can be made. So the innocent release others, in gratitude for their release, what they perceive upholds their freedom from imprisonment and death. Open my mind to change. So when I open my mind to change, there is no ancient penalty demanded from my companions or myself. For pure formless awareness of perfect love is proclaimed that there is no sacrifice that can be asked and no sacrifice that can be made. So what's he saying here? That there is no sacrifice once we free our minds from illusion. no ancient penalty based on delusions of sin and guilt. No sacrifice, no loss, no death, no suffering, just pure formless awareness of perfect love. And that's all. Okay, and then just the personalized executive summary. I'll read that quickly. So in the depths of my understanding, I recognize that only those who accuse themselves condemn others. As I stand at the crossroads of decisions, it's crucial for me to learn a primary lesson. I should never harbor resentment towards my companions because of their perceived wrongs, but instead realize my animosity stems from my own feelings of guilt projected onto them. My judgments of others are merely reflections of how I view myself. Judgments of others are merely reflections of how I view myself. When I saying there that the world's a mirror, others are a mirror, they're just a reflection of our own beliefs about ourselves. Because of that, they give us a great opportunity to really look at ourselves in the mirror and let go of our egos. When I perceive the sins in others, it's because I believe those sins exist within me and are unforgivable. Mistaken belief is why I sometimes lash out. If I truly felt innocent, I wouldn't feel the need to attack anyone. The concept of sin is attributed to the body. They hold the body responsible for actions, forgetting that merely acts based on my mind's commands. I perceive myself as sinful. I trap my mind in the confines of my body. Let my body's perceived actions define me. It is vital to understand that That is the body that is the prisoner, not the mind. My body that is the prisoner, not my mind. The body in and of itself has the power to think or make decisions. Mistakenly place my mind in the body's prison. The body making myself vulnerable to negative emotions. Thoughts and emotions like hate, sadness, pain, and grief. Slow perception makes me view the world as a place without mercy, dominated by fear. Distorted perception makes me see the world as a place without mercy. It's without love. It's without love, dominated by fear. However, there is hope. I have the power to change my beliefs and perspectives. By doing so, my physical self will follow this mental shift. Doing so, my physical self will follow this mental shift. I liberate my mind from the confines of my misguided beliefs. Perceive others in a new light. In a new perspective. No longer shackling them or myself to guilt or changing emotions. So profound realization, my true nature, my innocent self remains untouched. So my true nature, nature which is my innocent capital self remains untouched by these misconceptions. I must embrace change, for in this change find freedom from guilt, the shackle of the past. I'm reminded that there's no sacrifice too great in the eye of pure forms, most perfect love. Reminded that there is no sacrifice. No sacrifice can be asked and no sacrifice can be made. Truth. There's no sacrifice that can be asked. And no sacrifice that can be made. So saying we free our minds from this belief in the body. We liberate ourselves from sin and guilt. We liberate ourselves from sacrifice and sickness and loss, suffering and death, just by changing our mind and giving ourselves a fresh perception, fresh perspective on everyone and everything. So, let's look at the key message quickly. Summary of summaries: as I've realized, my judgments of others reflect my inner guilt. So my judgments of others reflect my inner guilt. Changing my beliefs, I can free my mind from my body's constraints, body's limitations. See others without guilt. And embrace my true innocent nature. Accept my true innocent nature. This shift leads to profound freedom and understanding. Leads to profound freedom and understanding in the embrace of pure formless awareness. This leads internal in your mind. My judgment of others. Judgments of others reflect my inner guilt. By changing my beliefs, I can free my mind from my body's limitations, perceive others without guilt, and accept my true innocent nature. This internal change of mind leads to profound freedom and understanding in the embrace of pure formless awareness. In the pure formless awareness of perfect love. So he's saying here that we can change our minds. We don't have to be prisoners of the body. We can let go of sin and guilt. We don't have to be imprisoned by the body and its aging and sickness and so on. And this will lead to profound inner freedom, transformation of mind, freedom from guilt, sin, fear, attack thoughts, and death itself. So I hope that message inspires you, and if it does and you'd like to join us, then do that soon in one of our mind training lessons. One of these mind training sessions. There's a link below to allow you to do that, and you can also sign up to receive Telegram messages from me daily, messages that I showed you in the beginning of the session. You can get those by Telegram every day, and if you're not a subscriber to the channel, subscribe to the channel if you like this and would like to get more videos like this. 6 days a week we do these live sessions. So thank you for watching, and namaste, which means the truth in me acknowledges and honors that same true self in you. Peace.